Hi, welcome to the fifth video of the series of Python for Absolute Beginners. In this video, we will be learning about what are data types. This is a very important concept in Python. Now, what are data types? Data types are used to define the type of variable or what type of data the variable is storing. For example, if you see on the screen, a person's age is stored in a number, right? 21, 30, 56. The age is stored in a number, while his address is stored in an alphanumeric form, that is 82012 Mount View apartment, etc. etc. Now, to understand this more clearly, let us go on the screen. Now, Python has following data types built in default, as you see on the screen, and they are categorized as per the type of data they hold. So, if it is a text type data, it will be a string. If it is a numeric type data, it will be either integer, that is int, float or complex. If it is sequence type, it will be a list, tuple or a range. If it's mapping type, it will be a dictionary. Similarly, it is set type, Boolean type, binary or none. These are different 8 categories how the data is categorized, and depending upon that data, the Python data types are derived. For example, if it is text type, it will be a string. In this video, we will be looking in detail about string, integer, float and Boolean data types. Now, this does not mean that I won't be teaching you the other data types. Of course, we will be looking at other data types also. However, as I said that I will be teaching each and every concept in detail. Teaching entire data types in one video is not possible. So let us go on the screen and start with the first data type. In the last video, we saw how to find the length of a string. So the function is len into bracket the string. Now suppose the string that I am writing is important. Now this is my string, right? If I want to print the length of it, I will write the print command in front of it and bracket open and end bracket close. Now the first thing that I will do is I will save this file, Control S, and I will name this as str stringlength.py. Okay, you can give any name, that is fine, but the extension is very important. Okay, so if I run this program, what I'll get is I'll get 9. The length of this string is 9. There are 9 characters in it, right? But if I write print len of 6, okay, I'll write a number, and then if I run this program, what will happen is it is printed 9 because it printed this, the length of important string, and when it came down, okay, here it is showing that object of type, it's showing a type error, object of type int has no length. Now what is happening is length function is used to determine the length of a string. However, is this a string? No, this is not a string, right? This is a number. The reason for showing you is there are different functions which depend upon what type of data we are using in that function. If I give double quotes here, if I convert this to a string, right? If I put a double quote, this will be considered as a string, not as a number, right? And now if I run the program, I'll clear the screen. If I run the program again, it will show you the first string is 9 characters. The first string has 9 characters and the second has 6 characters. Now this is considering it as a string. So what we have done is we have converted a numeric value into a string. So here the concept of data type comes. This was a string as this was previously a number. Okay, this is a very crude example of explaining you what are data types. So we will see each one in detail. The very first data type we'll see, that is integer. It's very easy, simple. I'll open a new file for this and I'll save it as int.py. Okay. Now let us understand what is integer. What is integer? Integer is a whole number without a decimal point. Okay, so like 1 2 3 4 or 5 6, anything, any number without a decimal point is called as a integer, and it is represent with the function int. So let us see an example. So a is equal to 20, b is equal to 30. We have already done this program. C is equal to a plus b, print the addition is, now what I'll do is I'll give a comma and then C. We have already seen this program, right? So what I'm explaining here is if I run this program, it will print the addition is 50. 20 plus 30 is 50. The addition is 50. Now let us check the data types of A and B. Now what is the data type of A? If I come down, if I write to check the data type, the function used is type. Okay, into bracket the variable of which we want to see the type. Now we want to print this, right? So I'll write the print command here and then the type command. So what it will do is it will print whatever the type of this variable A is. Similarly, we will see print type B. Okay, now let us clear the screen and run this program. So when I run this program, if you see, it is showing class integer. Now what is this class? We'll see it later. Now what it is showing is the type of A is integer, the class of B is integer. So it is showing an addition here of the two integers, that is 50. So if you see the type of C here, okay, now type of C is again also an integer. Now suppose I modify this program. Instead of directly putting numbers in a variable, if I use the input command, how it will be? Input, enter first number, correct, and I will save this in A. So A is equal to input first number, okay. B is equal to again input, enter second number. Then C is equal to A plus B. Now here we will see type of A, B, and then the addition is C. Now what will happen is, if I run this program, I'll clear this. Okay, enter the first number. It's asking me the first number. Suppose I put 20 and the second number I put 40. I press enter. Now it is showing class string, class string. Now it is considering A and B as string. We have taken an input and then we are storing it in A. If you remember in the last video, I told you that whenever you take an input from the user, it is always considered as a string. Okay, so the type of A here is string, the type of B here is string, and now the addition that he has done, the addition that Python has done is C, that is C is equal to A plus B. And what it has done is, this plus sign is not doing an addition now. What it is doing is, it is doing an concatenation. We have seen this example in the first video. So, and the type of C again is a string. So here, to actually get an addition, what we have to do is, we have to convert this A and B into integer. And how do you do that? By writing the int function, int of A and int of B. So it will convert A and B into integer. Now let us clear the screen and run the program. First number is 30, 40, and now A is string, B is string, but now when we are calculating C, it is converting A and B into an integer and then doing the addition and then storing it in C. So if you see, A and B are string, while after the addition, the C variable is an integer variable because it is adding two integers. Understood? So integer is basically what? A whole number, and we can convert and string into an integer using an int function. Related to integer, there is one more thing I wanted to show to you. Like, I'll open a new file. You can also write an integer in a different form. Like suppose I'm printing as this simple number. Okay, I'll save it. num1.py. Okay, and when I run it, it will print this number, right? But I can print this number, I can show this number like this also, 123 underscore 456. Okay, now if I run, it is again printing the same number. Now what this underscore sign has done, underscore sign is just for displaying a number in a particular format. In Indian number format, how do we write a number, right? This is the way we write the number, correct? So we can convert this commas into underscore and write it, right? Suppose if I write print this command, it will, though we have given an underscore, it will always consider it as an integer, as a complete number. In this example, I have actually shown you what are integers. These are integers, are basically whole numbers. Now the second data type is float. Now what is float? I'll open a new file and I'll save it as float.py. Okay, float is what? Float is again a number, but it has a decimal point in it, like 1234.56. This is a float number. It's not an integer. It has a decimal point. So we'll take an example. A is equal to 23.5, B is equal to 40, C is equal to A plus B. Print the addition is C. Okay, now I'll again print the type of each one. Okay, I'll print type of A. I'll copy this, type of B, and type of C. Let us see what happens. I'll clear the screen and run this program. So what is happening is, say 23.5, it is considering as a float. Float is what? A decimal number. Second, it does not have a decimal point. B does not have a decimal point, so it is considering it as an integer. However, the C is an addition of an float and an integer, so the number is a decimal point, 63.5. So again, this is a float number. So integer is basically a number without a decimal point. It is a whole number. Float is a number with a decimal point. Now we will move to the third data type, and that is Boolean. Now I'll open a new file. I'll save it as boolean.py. Okay. So what is Boolean? Boolean is a value which is either true or either false, and we represent it by a capital T for true and capital F for false. If you remember, when we were learning flowcharts, we made some flowcharts where the flow was moving depending upon the decision, that is yes or no. Correct? If you see on the screen, this is a flowchart where the flow was moving depending upon the condition, whether the condition is true or false. Similarly, here a Boolean variable means its value is either true or either false. And how we can see that? For example, if a condition 10 is greater than 3, is this condition true? So let us see the type of this. Okay, and let us see print this type. So if I clear the screen, when I run this program, it is giving us the type of this condition is as Boolean, because this condition is true, correct? And if the condition is false, suppose if I say 10 is less than 3, and if I run this program, it will again give me the class as BOOL, that is Boolean, because this is, though the condition is false, it is a Boolean type of variable whose data is false. Now we can see that also if I write print 10 greater than 3. Okay, if I run this, it is a Boolean type variable and the value is true. If I write print 10 less than 3, the condition is false, right? So the class is Boolean, the type of data type is Boolean, and the value is false. The first value, that is 10 greater than 3, is true and 10 less than 3 is false. The concept of Boolean will be more clear when we actually do some programs. And before moving to programs, let us understand the fourth data type, and that is string. Now the fourth data type is the most interesting one and my favorite, that is string data type. Okay, so a string data type we saw in the first example, right? If we see here, when we were looking at the length of the string, we saw this is a string which is written in a double quotes. Okay, to understand string more clearly, let us go on a screen where we will see how data is actually stored in a variable. Now this is the string, right? Important. This is the word, and it is considered as a string because we had written it in a double quotes. Okay, so now when we save this string in a variable, it is stored in a particular manner. Okay, when we store it, it is split and each character gets an index. Okay, an index starts from 0. So these are total 9 characters and they are stored in a proper indices starting from 0 to 8. Now they are also stored in another way, in a reverse indices with a negative number. But let us not complicate our things at this moment of time. We'll learn it later. Understand that whenever we store a string in a variable, it gets an index. An index starts from 0. Now suppose I write a print command, and that is print important. This is a string and the fourth character of it. This 4 is what? The index, not the fourth character, the fourth index of this string. Now if the fourth index, what is the fourth index? R, correct? So here R will be printed. If I print important and into bracket 4, R will be printed. We'll see this example. Now suppose if I write print important 7, what will be printed? The 7th index, that is N. Now there are other ways of also writing a string, and that is print important into square bracket 2s/5. If I write 2s/5, it will start printing the string starting from index 2, that is 2, up till 5 but not 5, up till 5. So it will print POR and it will come here and it is 5th. So it will not print this. It will print from 2 up till 5 but not including 5. Okay. Similarly, if I write print important and :3, what it will do is it will print the character of the string starting from beginning up till the 3rd index but not the 3rd index. So starting is I, M and P. It will not print the 3rd index. Similarly, there is one more way. If I write print important and 6 and then : into bracket, square bracket, what it will do is it will start from the 6th index and go till the end. So 6 is A, N and T. This is the last index. So it will print A and T. We will practically see these examples on the screen. Okay. So if I write print, instead of writing the whole string again and again, what I'll do is I'll store this string in a variable. Okay, and that variable is A. What is the type of this variable? We saw it, right? The type of this variable is string because we are storing a string in it. Now if I come down and write print A variable, and if I want to print the 5th index of it, okay, what will it print? It will print T, correct? 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 5th is T, correct? Similarly, if I want to print A and from 3 to 6, correct? If I run this 5th, it has printed this 5th index, that is T, and then from 3 to 6, the third one is 0, 1, 2, 3, that is O, then R and then T. This is the 5th one, and then 6th one is A, which is not printed because this is not included. So all these examples that we saw on string were slicing a string, right? We were slicing the string into different characters. Now suppose you have a multi-line string. Okay, now what is a multi-line string is? This is a multi-line string, and it comes on the next line, and it again we write something, and then again come down and we write something. So this is a multi-line string. Okay, so how do you write it? Suppose we have 3 lines, right? So what we will do is we'll take a variable and I'll put 3 double quotes. Okay, and I'll start writing. This is first line, then I'll separate it by a comma, come down. This is second line, then I'll separate it by a comma, and this is third line. Okay, and if I print this variable now, I'll clear this. If I print this variable now, it will print a multi-line text. Now because this variable we are storing a multi-line text. If we don't put 3 double quotes, it is not possible for us to store a multi-line variable. So this is the way how we store a multi-line string in a variable. The number of double quotes will be equal to the number of lines that we are going to use in our string. Now suppose this is my variable A, which is important. Now if I say print 3 into A, now what does A have? A has the string, right? And if I write 3 multiplied by any string, okay, what will happen is, if I run this program, it is printed important 3 times. So this is just, I wanted to show you that this can also be done with a string. So we have seen how to slice a string, how to break it. Now we will learn how to modify a string. If I write print A dot lower double quotes and run the program. So see, this is an uppercase, all capitals. Now with this method, the string is converted into lower. Suppose I write it in small letters, and now instead of lower, if I write upper method, okay, and if I run it, uppercase, so it gets converted into an uppercase. So this is how we can modify a string. There is other way how we can modify a string. Suppose we have a statement. Okay, this is a statement, and I have stored it in a variable A, and I write print A, but if I give space in the beginning and the end, so and I run it, see there is a space in the beginning and the end, correct? But if I use a strip method and again run this, there is no space in the start and end. So what does strip do is it will remove the spaces from the starting and the ending block. There is one more method where we can replace a particular character. Now suppose if I print A dot replace, okay, how does the replace command work is we have to specify which character to replace. Suppose I want to replace S by P, okay, and so this is a string, right? So this is a string, right? A, and I'll remove the statement here so it will be clear. So what I'm doing is A dot replace all the S's with the P. So there are S here, here and here, right? So if I run this program now, so this S is replaced by P at 3 places. So we can replace a string by a replace method. One more method we will see, and that is split. Consider this variable. Suppose I have different names: Raj, Rahul, Prakash, Sam. Okay, and here I'll write split, and I want to split the variable a where the comma is there. Okay, and if I run it, I'll clear this console. If I run this, so what I'm getting, see, now this is a type of array. Actually, this is a type of list what we are getting, and we have split. Now this method has split this string, correct? This is a string, right? This is in double quote, this string into a list of individual names separated by a comma. So now related to string, one more example we will see. Suppose I am writing print is called the, I want to write king of jungle by everyone. Okay, so if I want to write this kind of statement where I want to write these three particular words in double quotes. Okay, now if I run this, it will give me an error, correct? Because we have learned it, we cannot have multiple double quotes nested to each other. So what we do is usually we use a single quote, but we don't want a single quote. I want a double quote. Specifically, I want a double quote for this word. What I can do is, in that case, we use the escape character. What does an escape character do is, if I write, I'll put a backslash and a backslash here. One backslash before the quotes start and one backslash before the quote ends. Now if I run this program, it will print he is called the king of the jungle, and these words are in double quotes. This is the way we can use escape string to print special characters. Now we will write a program where we will get the length of the string, and we will write a statement where we will write the variable and as well as the length of the string. Okay, so what we'll do is write input, enter any string please. Okay, then we will store it in variable str, or just not to confuse, a is equal to input. So whatever the user inputs, it will be stored in a variable a. Now how to get a length of the string? Okay, print len a. So this will return us the length of the string, correct? You can run this. Suppose I write, and it will return me the length of the string, that is 17. Okay, so this program is executing properly. But what I want to write is, I just don't want to write the length, I want to write the string as well as the length. So how to write that? What I'll do is I'll store the length in variable L. Okay, so L is equal to length of a, and then in the print statement, what I'll do, the string entered by you is, what is the string? We have stored it in variable a, correct? And then the length of the variable is, again, what is the length of the variable? It is stored in variable L, so we will write it outside the quote. Okay, so now let us run the program and we will enter the string. This is demo, and if I press enter, the string entered by you is, this is demo, the length of the variable is 12. So what we have done here is, we have printed a string and we have found a length, and we have printed a variable which is a integer. Suppose I don't want to use a comma and I want to use a concatenation string. Will this program run? Okay. So if I put a string, this is demo. Okay, it is giving me an error on line 3. Okay, it says that the string entered by you is plus a, the length of the variable is +1. You cannot concatenate a string to a string, not an integer. Okay, so what it is expecting is, it is expecting L to be a string, because you cannot concatenate a string and a variable, right? Suppose you can concatenate a string and a string, because a is a string and this is a string, you can concatenate it. So if I write a comma here, then the program will run, correct? So this is, once I put a comma here, it is running. This is demo and the length of the variable is 12, correct? Because now the string plus concatenation with a string, a is a variable, and then concatenating it with a string again, because this is a string, it is in double quotes, and then when you are using a variable which is an integer, we are using a comma. So once you start understanding what are data types, they will help us reduce errors while we are making a program. So before ending the video, we will see an interesting example where we will accept a number, a 2-digit number from the user. Suppose the user enters 3 and 4. Then we will split that number into 2 different characters, and then we will add that and print the addition of those 2 numbers. Okay, very simple. Accept 2 numbers from the user, split the number, and then add the number and get the addition of that number. Okay, so let us go on the screen and start writing the program. So let us come to Visual Studio Code. Okay, I'll open a new program. I'll save it as addnum.py. Get the number from the user, a 2-digit number from the user input. Enter 2-digit number. We will store it in a variable. Okay, so num is equal to whatever the user enters will be stored in variable num. What is the type of this num? Whatever comes from the input is always a string, right? So we can split the num, right? How do you split the num? So suppose we write first no is equal to num of 0, correct? What will be the num of 0? If it's 2-digit number, the first digit will be 0. Then second number is equal to num of 1, correct? So what we will get is, in the first no variable, we will get this variable, whatever the user enters, the variable is num, and we will get the 0 index of that number, correct? Suppose the number entered by the user is 56, this 5 will be stored in num of 0, and this 6 will be stored in num of 1, correct? So we will store that individual index in individual variables, okay? And then we will add it, right? So we will write add is equal to first no variable plus second no variable, correct? So if we write print the addition is comma this variable add. Okay, I'll clear the screen. If I run this, it is asking me a 2-digit number. Suppose I enter 34, okay, that we saw in the example, and press enter. The addition is 34. What has happened? This num is a string, so whatever the user enters, 3 and 4, this 3 and 4 is a string. Suppose you split 3 and 4 like this, it will still be 3 will be an individual string, 4 will be an individual string, correct? So we have to convert this first number and second number into integer, or we can do it here also. Integer of first and integer of second. We will add the integer of first number and the integer of the second number. Now if I run the program and if I enter 34 here, I'm getting the addition is 7. So in this video we saw string variables in detail, integer, boolean and floats. In the next video, enough of theory, we will start writing programs where we will implement all these concepts that we have learned in the last 2 videos, including today. So those who have not watched the previous video, I request and suggest to watch those videos also. Click on that like button so it reaches to more people who can learn Python in the most interesting way. I hope you're liking this video and understanding what I'm teaching. So just whatever your suggestions are, just write it in the comments below. And those who have not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe it, because things are getting interesting now. As well as click that like button, because it will help the video to reach more people like you who can take advantage of these tutorials. So see you in the next video where we'll be writing fabulous programs. See you there. Bye.